In this video, we're going to be going over the suspension side of things in the Toyota solid axle swap. And that's going to include the front hanger, the rear shackles, as well as the shock hoops. So as some of you may know, I took out the transmission a couple months ago to do a clutch. And while I was out, I decided it was a good time to drill the rear shackle mounts for the frame tubes. So here, that's what I'm doing here. I have it marked with the frame tube jig from Trail Gear, and I pushed it as far forward as it could go on both sides and traced them out for the hole saw to go through. I was really worried about getting these holes straight because I've seen a lot of people drill them crooked and have them not lined up, and it just kind of rides like crap on the road. So if the transmission's out, it makes it a lot easier. You can line up the holes perfectly because you can put a pipe through it and make sure it lines up. And to get these holes straight, you just kind of want to align the drill with the straight line of the cab because the frame is completely crooked and bent in at this section. So if you line the drill up with the body lines on the cab, it should stay pretty straight. What I kind of mean is that you can see that the frame bends in from the straight section, and the cab is straight. So if you line up your drill straight with the cab and just go in, that will get you your straight line. So you can see there's multiple layers to these frames, specifically on the four-wheel drive ones. So you just want to keep the drill straight and just get through the whole middle section of it. So here's what I was talking about before with the pipe. You just put it in and you can see that even though I drilled in the same spot, it's not lining up. So with a little bit of shaving on either side, you can get them to be perfectly aligned and both facing perfectly straight. So you can see I'm just kind of taking little measurements here, just making sure everything is perfectly straight. So one side is the exact same as the other. And if it's not, you can always just grind away more and make adjustments to get them straight. Trail Gear's instructions are pretty unclear about where to put the actual frame tube when you're welding it. It says to center it in the frame and then push it out a 1/4 inch, but I found that it has to be out a 1/4 inch just on the outside, and that's even hard to measure because it's a bent in frame. So how I kind of did it was just push it out a 1/4 on the inside. So you can see right here, they're both kind of in the same spot. Here's a better look after it's done. You can see it sticks out about a 1/4 on that side and a fair amount on that side, and it does line up pretty straight with the front. So once you got them all in place, you can weld them in, and this was actually one of my first times welding. Once you're done welding, you can prepare the leaf springs to go in, and you just want to grease up the bushings before you put them in as well. So you can see I'm greasing up the bolt to go in as well through the shackle, and this would not go in. Like, no matter what I tried, like when I was hammering it, it would just push out the bottom bushing. So I eventually just kind of put it inside the vise or the press, and that seemed to do it pretty good. So this is another time I disagree with the trail gear instructions. It says if you're using the 3-inch leaf springs to put the hanger flush with the front of the truck, and that's what I did here, as you can see, and the shackle angle is just horrible. It's supposed to be at full droop 90 degrees, and that was way past that. So you can see I scooted this thing quite a bit back, about 1/2 inch, to get the correct shackle angle. So that looks a whole lot better than it did before. So this side isn't tacked in yet, but how I kind of found the position it should go is the axle is all the way down with no support, and I just put the shock in both places, and you just kind of look at the bushing inside and you can see, so it's kind of shifted one way, so you want to align it up the best it can with just where it's sitting. What I was basically saying in that last clip is you want to get the bushings aligned perfectly straight in both the top and the bottom. So you kind of just want to mess with it until it gets there. Here's the other side. I already welded in fully, and you can see I put the hoop at around 7 degrees. The trail gear instructions recommend to go straight up and down, but I've seen a few things online saying you want to go back 7 degrees. So, and that also fit up in here a lot better than straight up and down, so I just tilted it back just a little bit. So I just roughly trimmed them up to fit in here. They're not super straight or anything, but if I weld them in, they should be good. So now that's tacked in place, I can mark where I need to hammer out more, and then I can take it off, finish welding these supports on, and then put it back in and fully weld it up. So I fully welded the supports in, and now I can just put it back in the same spot it was and fully weld it all together. So you can see where the tack marks are, and that's just where I'll put it right back. And then here you can see where I needed to hammer out. It's quite a bit, but it's a lot better than having to cut the inside of your fender out. So you want to hammer out on either side, so that way you can put in and out the bolt at the top of the shock hoop.